My stream doesn't say it's live. Can you guys see a stream? Someone say something if you can see me, because I can't see me on the stream thing, if that makes sense. My hair's actually sort of blonde, but if you can see me. You can see me? Okay, cool. So I guess we're sort of live. We'll just give it sort of 10 minutes or so for everyone to get here. Let me a bit louder. Okay, 1 second. Is that any louder for you? Gil Chat, tell me if this is loud enough for you. There we go, I've made it. I've max volumed it now, so we'll see how that is. Is the quality of my voice good enough? You can understand what I'm saying and all of that sort of stuff. And there isn't too much background noise or anything like that. Cool. Okay, yeah, 1 second. I've just got to refresh the browser, so I won't be able to see the chat for a moment. Okay, cool. So I can see my own stream thing now. Wonderful. Oh wait, I need to mute that, don't I? Mute, pause, there we go. That's a bit easier. It's a shame you can't break the chat out. Viewer list, settings. Pop out. That's a bit better. If that's actually... Has that popped it out? Yeah, it has. Cool. Okay, sorry, you'll have to bear with me. I haven't done any of this before, so this is all as new to me as it likely is for you guys. Bob Ross. Bob was the guy. We can finally agree over something at Eve. If that's how you pronounce it. Let me, sorry, I'm just cleaning my glasses. I'm not jacking off on a live stream. Wildly inappropriate. Will I add pies? I had a quick glance over the forum today, but I didn't really have any time. Which I've just been so busy today with work, and then I went to this kickboxing thing, which was really fun, but it's absolutely killed me because I'm horrendously unfit. So it's been a long day. This is the first moment I've had to really kind of. So here we are. I'll start. So I'll talk a little bit about the format that we're going to use to get this running. So basically, I will take the forum and plonk it here so you guys can see it, and then we'll just go to the thread, and then what I'm going to do is just scroll down and read it. I've done no research or revision. I haven't had any time, I'm afraid. I just thought this might be a fun thing to do, so I can just answer you all personally, and then yeah, hopefully you guys will feel like I'm engaging with you a bit, even if I've been quite absent lately because life's been insane. So yeah, I think this keeps refocusing. Sorry if it does. Just because I'm moving. I don't know. I don't know. Wow, like you really get a sense of how big my forehead is, don't you? Like, yeah. The older you get, if you're unlucky, your hair goes back, and I've got a really big forehead now. Struth. Anyway, oh damn, I still haven't got them clean enough. What time is it? No, this isn't a replacement for the Christmas podcast. I'll put together, get a hat, mate. I'll put together a proper Christmas podcast for you all. In fact, no, the Christmas podcast is happening on the, where's my mouse? I've got too much going on. It's happening on the 11th, and it's going to be a 12-hour long code marathon, where I'm going to have everything set up similar to this, but for 12 hours, we're going to have competitions. I'm going to code Mirage, because I'm actually going to have the time to dedicate to it. And then, yeah, I'm going to have a bottle of whiskey, and we're going to play some drinking games, and that'll be fun, and you can join in if you like, if you're old enough. And yeah, you know, I think the quality of the code will probably go down as the day goes on, but I just thought it might be a bit of a laugh, so that's the plan. What's up, everyone, and hello to everyone who said hi, and I haven't directly acknowledged. No, I haven't been drinking at all. Quite the opposite. I've just come back from kickboxing. My partner, she made me a bath, which was really nice. So I've had that, had dinner, and here I am. He's kicking off in the chat. That's pretty funny. Yeah. So let me just open the window here. The warm's getting toasty. The room's getting a bit toasty. So the whiskey drinking stream will be on Sunday, the 11th of June. So that will be not this weekend coming, but the following weekend. I'll post about it on the forums and on Twitter and all of that, so everyone's got plenty of time to find it. And it will just be 12 hours of sort of drinking, coding, and just chatting with you guys and hanging out, really. I just thought it would be really cool if we could get loads of people together from the internet who all like this project. We could all just hang out, because it'd be fun. Yorkshire? I'm like squinting at the screen because I'm not wearing my glasses. No, I'm not. I'm actually from a town called Carlisle in England, which is really far up north, but I've lived much further south for quite some time, which is why my accent is possibly a little bit strange. And if you're tuning in from other countries, I don't know what it will sound like to you, the way I enunciate and pronounce my words. Yorkshire-ish accent. Yorkshire is more like, I'm thinking of Cornwall, and all that nonsense. Please think of adding an MLG 420 AWP for the Ranger class. Yeah, that sounds really fair. Sound like the dude off the Royal Navy advert, you cheeky bastard. Oh dear. Right, so we're getting to the time now, so let me just do an announcement thing. I'll let you be able to see the commands that I use. Broadcast. Cool. Nothing really on there for us to look at. I think Hugh Grant. Jesus, I think that's the most I've ever been insulted on the internet. I hate that guy. so much, from his floppy hair to his absurd British accent. And that's coming from a British guy. Suicide belts for knights. It's a bit controversial for, you know, 11 o'clock on a Wednesday night. Yeah, that's fine. Gil Smur, if anybody wants to watch this live stream later, Lexifer, however you pronounce it, told me about this thing that I could enable in Twitch. Am I central? That it will retain everything that we stream for 14 days now. Me, although you guys are involved, I guess, as I've got the chat right up there. So you'll have like 14 days to catch up. So don't worry too much if you can't stay here for the whole time or whatever. It might not be that interesting. You guys might hate this. Right, it's time. So we got 4 pages worth of comments from everybody. As I say, I had a flick through some of them earlier today, but I didn't really have any time to read them properly. I think I saw there were a lot of dumb questions about, like, is there going to be different types of pie and things like that, which I guess I should have expected. But I'll try my best to answer them. If you've got questions that you want to ask me while I go through all of this stuff, feel free to rush over now to the topic and post on it, and I will, when I get to page 4, I'll do a refresh, and as long as it's before midnight, I'll try and do my best to answer them, and I'll engage with you if you guys have anything to say about what I'm saying with regards to the questions. I'll try and sort of like strike a balance between just getting to the point and answering the question, and also trying to field questions from you guys in here. But yeah, so no, I'm not in a library. This is actually the office that I've made, which is pretty cool. It's in my house, and that's wallpaper. And then you can see my whiteboard just behind me here, which I only put up last week, which was paid for by you guys when I asked everyone if they could just donate a little bit so I could afford it. So, you know, all the money that you have donated has massively helped me. I now have like a sweet little office in a corner of the house where I can really focus in the library, which is awesome. So anyway, let's get to it. Yeah, it is. It is what your money's been used for stuff that's going to help me really focus on the game, because this is a big dream and it's super exciting to do it. Oh, that's like a damn whiteboard. Right, yeah, cheers, man. This is what he's using it for, productivity. I wanted him to buy like whiskey and weed and develop a expensive cocaine habit. Yeah, so get ready for cringe, Topaziers. I think the cringe is going to be reading your posts on here, because I'm going to guess the pie is you're doing. Anyway, instead of just reading the Twitch chat, my name's Liam. I'm the developer of Mirage Realms, as you all probably know and have guessed by now. And yeah, I just thought this might be fun, so we'll see how it goes, I guess. And yeah, my hair is changing. I'm getting older. It's falling out. Right then, question 1, Topaziers. Here he is. This guy. First pie will ever be used rather than just for nourishment. Oh my god, that's probably the worst English sentence. Or it's a strong contender for the worst English sentence I've read all year. Okay, so first point. Will pie ever be used rather than just for nourishment, like say adding a buff to pie that adds speed for a certain amount of time, or maybe made to be used to recharge or use certain skills? Okay, well, I'll give you like a C for effort there, but I think what you're asking is, will pie have any special properties that will benefit players other than just for nourishment? The short answer is yes. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do with food, but it's a fairly obvious, easy, sort of crafty type thing, isn't it? And the basic idea, I think, tallies with what you guys would like, which is the ability to combine certain foods and what would you call them, ingredients, I guess, to make different foods that then provide you buffs. I think that's what you're asking. And yeah, absolutely. I can't see why that wouldn't be cool for the game. I think it really would be. So, yes. Not specifically just pie, though. Second question by Unemployed Bum. Get a job. Jesus. Right. When is the official launch looking to be? That's a really difficult question. If you'd have asked me last year, this time of the year, when I was planning to start really working on Mirage, I would have said last Christmas. But evidently, sort of didn't quite make it, did we? I have a habit of massively underestimating the amount of work and time that goes into everything. So I'll come online and like promise all this stuff, and then it'll take 500 times as long to do, and then I just feel bad. So ideally, version 1 would be set in stone by Christmas. That's been the plan since late last year, when I sort of started to realise how much work was involved in doing this. A lizard. So I get distracted by the chat. But yeah, the coming Christmas would probably be a good time to draw a line under when we want the first release. The major goals to get there, basically, there's different sections of the game. There's all of the admin stuff that you guys couldn't give a flying fuck about, like email verification, better moderator tools, all of that kind of crap that isn't really part of the game, but is super important to do, because if I get it wrong, as I have been doing, I get a million emails and players get annoyed, people lose their accounts. You know, moderating the game is like a million times harder than it should be. So there's all of that stuff which takes a lot of work, that is just horrible to do, because it's just not fun. Like, you think like you log in and you see, oh, there's an email verification system, that's really exciting. Like, think how lame it was to write it. No one cares about that. I just want to be writing spells. You know, I want to be doing that stuff. But unfortunately, I'll never get around to doing that stuff, and the game and the community will sort of fall apart if I don't do all this other stuff. So there's that side of things, the admin type stuff to do. There's core engine features which will really shape the gameplay. So that's things like the spells and abilities system, progression, quests, instance dungeons, some form of PvP, like systems for guilds and declaring war against each other, and all of that kind of stuff. That's really integral to the game, so that has to be in as well. And then the third thing, which nobody thinks about, but is actually probably as much work, if not more, than the previous two, is just the content and the graphics and creating stuff that's fun to play. At the moment, what you guys have is really quite poor in terms of like playability, right? You run around, you click the thing dies, and there's some basic items that sort of make you a little bit better, but that's it. That's all you guys are playing, and you can sell some stuff and trade it with other people, and you can kill other people if you're in a bad mood or they're just a knob. That's the whole game. There's no depth there, really. What you have at the moment, the world that you're in, is just completely fumbled into existence as I just add and test things. So the monsters as they are now are nothing like what they will be. The areas you have at the moment, it's terrible. You have like an area each 10 levels, and then you get to fight like 1, 2, if you're lucky, 3 new monsters in one little zone. For like, you just get to grind that for days. That sucks. And it's like we've touched collectively on something that's really cool. If we hadn't, then all of you guys wouldn't be here. But it is really a shadow of what I want to do. So the content, the actual development of the content that you get to play through is such a huge part of the version 1 release, and I think we're talking like 3 or 4 months just on that. So it's like once I'm code complete on all of the really core systems that we need to keep everyone happy, there's like a 3 or 4 month period where me and Mombi and Egon are doing nothing but trying to create a new world from scratch, trying to make the items interesting instead of these really lame sort of upgrades that are sort of alright. Creating areas with lots of monsters. So instead of being like, level 20, brilliant, I now get to walk over this like level 20 level gate thing that makes no sense whatsoever, and kill like this one monster for the next week. The idea instead is that when you hit level 20, I've discussed this at length with some of the community mods, but you would then gain access to a dungeon, an instance dungeon challenge for that level bracket. So you hit level 20, you don't automatically be allowed to just go into a new zone. What you would have to do is you'd have to then do this instance dungeon challenge with some friends or random people, whatever. I haven't planned that far ahead how that will work. And then when you complete that, I'm thinking in terms of like the old Zelda games where you would unlock, say, a hook shot or some flippers or something like that. And then instead of just allowing you to cross these arbitrary level gates everywhere, instead we'll pepper the world with like, let's say that there's these water areas you can't cross. You see them and you think that water looks different, but you can't walk across it. And then when you try and walk across it, it tells you you don't have the flippers. Is the stream still working? Yeah, okay, cool. So then instead of like having this one little corner of the world that's like, yeah, this is where all the level 20s go to level 30, we just have these pockets of cool areas all over a world that you can then access via these sort of items that you will unlock by doing instance challenges. And obviously that needs a lot of planning in order to pull that off. We've really got to try and design the world, and it's going to take months. And there's no point designing anything now, because what happens if I design 80% of the version 1 world, and then I think, there's this really cool feature that I could just add, but now I need to go back and change almost everything that I've done just to implement it. So really, we're going to be stuck with this kind of little annoying world that's just going to grow in all different directions as required and be really grindy until we get feature complete. Then there'll be a large period of time where I'm just doing content, and then boom, version 1 release. So yeah, I really rambled on for ages there, but I hope that gives you some insight into what the plan is. Will there be more pie added? Well, that goes into the content thing, doesn't it? Sure, we can have all the different pies. Asking the real questions. Oh, second. Jesus, really? Right, so first, worst sentence ever. Let's see if you can outdo yourself here, Topaz. Will players who reach milestones beside level be rewarded? At the moment I have 340 plus pies. I'm going to have to check that, because that's... We need to have a talk about your life choices. Would I get a reward for getting 1,000 or 500? That is a lot of effort for me to like individually award achievements like that. But what would be an interesting idea would be to have... I think what you're basically asking for is an achievement system in the game that gives you some cool things in return for doing stuff that are kind of sideways aspects of gameplay, like loot X amount of things, do this really weird thing but a lot, because why not? And my answer to that would be an obvious way of rewarding that, and something I've thought of in the past, is that would be how you'd unlock your like cool little outfits. So at the minute you hit level 50, I think, and you get like a little back thing. That was just me testing out if it actually felt cool to then be able to look different to other people for achieving things. And I think it does. It works. So yeah, I would like to explore the idea of it would be after the version 1 release, implementing something that then explores other aspects of gameplay. So it might be like bake 1,000 cakes and then you get a chef's hat or something. You see that kind of thing? I think that's what you're getting at, that kind of idea. And yeah, I think that would be really cool. Well, I think it would be cool. I think that would be fun for me, because I'm a bit like you in that I tend to get into collecting weird things. Or in Tibia I spent most of my time just doing quests just so I could wear the outfits. So I think the outfit aspect is, in a game that is this terrible looking for 2017 graphics, and an online game at that, I think the ability to look different to other people is very inviting. So yeah, that's how I would look to tackle that. How do I cook my eggs? That's a good question. Well, again, asking the real questions. I do like scrambled eggs, but the problem I have with scrambled eggs is they're always so annoying to eat because they go everywhere. So if I'm having them in like a sandwich or something, I would fry them. If I was having it like beans on toast situation, I would scramble them. Now you know. What about perks for players that have been here 8+ months with nothing to show for or prove our dedication? Ooh, bit of venom there. Yeah, so everyone who exists in the game prior to the version 1 launch will get something cool for being here. I have no idea what that is. That's to be decided at a later date. But with the next update, one of the small things I'm putting in that isn't really a headline feature is at the moment there's no way of knowing when an account or a hero was created. So fertile. So I'm putting it in so it will then track that, and everyone whose account exists at the point of the next update will be counted as like an early alpha tester, because we've got like another 6 months plus of not being version 1. So everyone whose account exists at the next update, you will have a time logged against you as my account was at least created at this date, and then it will be really easy for me to identify that you're here at this point. And I would for sure look to give you some kind of reward that other people can't get. Maybe an outfit, maybe, I don't know. I'd have to. The game isn't developed enough for me to be able to offer you guys enough cool stuff. That's the problem. I mean, the Liam's Blessing item is a bit gimmicky, really. I'd like to have more ways to reward you for things. So further down the line, we'll discuss what the community thinks would be cool. before making a definite decision on that. But yes, I would like to reward you guys for being here for so long. What have we got next? Persepa. Persepa? It's a weird name, isn't it, to try and say out loud. Persepa. Persepa. Zero Mitch and Heatless wants to know if there will be rewards for first of each class to reach level 100. Yeah, I'm having a lot of people asking me this. Yeah. Again, no idea what they're going to be. Something that's been discussed actually, that was an idea. I can't remember if I had it or Crosheros, however you say his name, had it. But the idea was actually that the first 10 people to level 100 will be immortalized as statues in the final game. So somewhere in the game there will be some kind of grandiose place, and in there will be statues of each of the 10 players, and if you click on them to look, it will tell you their name, their class, and what number they were to get to level 100. And then I'll make sure that stays in the game. So it's not like a direct reward, but you get to basically be a celebrity on the European server. So I think that would be really cool, because that's something no one else will be able to get, and you can't really beat having like a sweet statue of yourself in a game that you play that has a lot of other people in it. So that's the running idea at the moment. Also, oh my god, look at you. You see this button here? That's an edit button. Use it. Are you going to record the stream, then post it on YouTube or something? We've covered that. It will still be available for 14 days. What is your biggest aspiration to be included in the game? Okay. For me, I think it's actually... Man, there's so many things I'm actually really looking forward to having in the game. Like, God damn, I just wish I had more time to work on it, because there's too much. Biggest aspiration to be included in the game. I think it relies on a ton of other stuff being implemented, and it's not like a single feature, but I think when we have the spell system active and it's working off of skill points, which it will do, that's how you will unlock spells and skills, and that's what will dictate their power. It will be your skills, not your level. You'll be able to use your points, your skill points, to kind of build your character in a certain way, choose what spells you want and all of this kind of thing for your current build, which will be really fun. And I think what we talked about earlier with you getting to say level 20 and beating one of these instance dungeons and then getting like the flippers or something, and then being able to go to all new areas that you've walked past previously that you knew you couldn't get to. And just, I think my biggest aspiration is like that feeling that you'll get when you say get the slippers and you've just unlocked like a sweet spell that you've been looking forward to get, and you can build your character a certain way, and just that kind of that whole thing coming together and it feeling like you're really progressing, because that's the thing that makes these kind of games fun, right? I mean, even stuff like tower defense, when you like unlock new things, that's a good feeling. You're like, cool, I've unlocked this now, so I can use this in my like builds. So that, and on the flip side, having like a really good guild war system, PvP system. I think what attracted a lot of us to Tibia was that whole, it's almost like the worst parts of Tibia where you're at war or getting hunted or getting your ass kicked, and dying and losing stuff and all of these horrible things that involved other players. They're actually the really like the best. They don't make the game the best, right? So that feeling, I want that feeling where you go into an area and you're hunting with some people, and then you see on the corner of the screen like 2 or 3 guys from the guild that you're at war with, and you're like, ah shit, like that moment there, that ah shit moment, that's really, like, that's what made Tibia great. You know, you're walking along chilling, and then someone that hunts you like runs on the screen and just starts attacking you, and you're like, ah fuck, you know, battle stations. Like that's it's like that emotion is what really got me into gaming like this. So I want a bit of that if I can get it, because that's really special, and that makes the game almost bigger than itself. So that's my real aspiration. What's your take on crafting weapons and armor versus looting preset items? So the problem with crafting systems is they take a lot of time and a lot of work to do well. And I don't have the time and energy to plan like this crazy whole leveled crafting system stuff that will be really good. So my take on it is that instead of allowing you to craft all your own weapons and armor and all of that sort of thing, instead I'd like you to be able to upgrade and customize them. So the way that will be achieved is, say you have a piece of armor, and when it dropped, it had some certain random stats on it, because we're going to have our primary stats, but then there are going to be little perks that items can have. Some of them might be elemental, some of them might be, they might affect your skills a little bit, not to give too much away, but suddenly like a certain spell might work slightly differently. But then you'll be able to upgrade that via doing things. So instead of like crafting an armor a certain way, it will be, okay, so to upgrade this particular piece of armor in the way that I want to, I've got to wear it and then go and kill X number of enemies, and then go to a guy in town, and he'll be like, ah, this is now the, I don't know, the Harbinger Nemesis armor that gives you like plus 10% damage to monsters who are in that particular area, etc. So, or makes you a little bit faster, or means that you have a slightly higher chance to crit, or all these kind of things. But instead of doing just a basic recipe thing, I'd rather it be almost like little mini quests. So you get a piece of armor, and you want to make it a certain way, so you can then go to like the armor guy, and he'll be like, okay, I'll send you on this quest to upgrade it in a certain way, and you must achieve these things. And so instead of just like getting stuff and creating it, you'll instead have to go off on your own little adventure to customize your equipment as you want, and there'll be certain tasks and trials. So that's my take on weapons and armor versus crafting them versus looting, because it's a lot less work for me to do that, and I think it would be fun. And generally, when those two things are true, I tend to lean towards that route, just because I have to be realistic about what we can achieve. If you look at the big picture, we can either make one little aspect of the game really amazing and everything else suffers, or we can just try and be smart with our choices, and I think that would be a smart choice. Although you could tell me if I'm wrong, and you're here to. When guilds are implemented, will we have guild tags above the head? So this is actually a really good question, because, and something that I've been thinking about in the back of my mind a lot, probably too much, because at the moment, when you are on a phone, having everyone's names visible on the screen on some people's lower resolution phones, some of the screenshots I see in the forums, like you guys, I don't know how you see anything, just names everywhere and stuff. So being able to like mark someone or show that someone is in a certain guild is really tough. So instead, I think similar to the emote system that we've got at the minute, and the skull system, what will happen is if someone is in your guild, they'll have like a little, some symbol just so you know that they're in your guild. And if someone is in a guild that you're at war with, they'll have that, but like a very obviously sort of the bad version. There'll be red involved or something, you know, so you can see them and be like, oh crap, that's one of the dudes that I have to avoid. Unfortunately, giving you a way to see just at a glance on screen who is with what guild, similar to how WoW works, just isn't going to fit, I don't think. Which is a shame, because it would be nice just to be able to see at a glance, but screen real estate on people's phones is, we don't really have any of it to work with. So I think we'll have to do something like that. Just to remind you all, if you want to ask any questions for me to answer, just add them on page 4 of the forum thing that we're going through here. And if I have time, which I probably won't, I'll try and get through them, because I have a tendency to ramble when I'm passionate about stuff. Hey boss, here are my questitons. Cool, let's check out Lex's questitons. Will there be some kind of reward compensation thank you gift to the CMs for busting their butts, helping keep the chaotic realm under control? Don't demote me, Plox. Yeah, there will. I have no idea what it is, but there will be. Once female gender and its sprites are implemented, will everyone be able to change genders at will, or is it going to be a choose wisely thing? Okay, so when it goes in, I'm going to put a command in for like a limited time, where you can just do like / change, and if you're not in combat, it will kick you out of the game and change your gender. So then when you log back in, you'll just be the opposite gender. So everyone can settle with what they prefer. And then after a period of time, I'll just tick that out. And then you'll only be able to choose it when you start, or you'll be able to do like a microtransaction of like a quid or something. A pound, sorry, for those who don't know what quid is. There's this really annoying moth. And then you'll just be able to change it whatever you want. Any plans of introducing potions / food that grant certain buffs? We covered that earlier when I was talking about food. Whether it's a potion or not doesn't really matter too much. The idea of collecting stuff, combining them, and then having something that can give you a buff is something that I think would be good for the game. What are your plans for zones level 70 to 100, and how much longer until you finally get rid of level gates? So I've talked about what I want to do eventually to eliminate level gates while restricting players to their zones with the flippers and all of that sort of stuff. In the short term for us, I think that when the spell system goes live, monsters will behave so differently to how they do now, and they'll have so many new abilities instead of this stupid AoE spam crap they do. We will be able to remove the level gates in some areas, because I'll just put stuff in that says the lowest level player, give them a good old whack, you know, like they'll have a spell that is just like the weakest guy on the screen, smash him one, and obviously if you're not high enough level, you're going to get one hit. So we'll have things like that. The idea is I want the content. It's not always possible because this is such a crowd game, but there are weird things that we can do once I can give monsters all kinds of cool abilities that will help me make it so that if you're a low level player in the wrong zone, you'll find out pretty quickly, because it will just be too difficult for you. So that's something to look at after the spells and everything goes live, to try and determine that. As for the zones, as part of the spells update, I'll chuck some more in. As I said, the actual eventual version 1 content, nothing that we have at the moment will survive. The whole world is going in the bin. So chucking in some new monsters and stuff is literally just I put it in when I sense everyone's getting too bored at max level, which I think everyone actually is at the moment. So it's time for some new content, which I'm going to try and sneak in under the radar for the next update. I'm not telling you what it is or where it's going, but you can have fun finding it and getting one hit at level 90. So yeah, that'll be good. Will we get at least one new arm for each class soon? See what I just said, and I'll let you draw your own conclusions. And then some banter. Can we cancel our chirurgical, I assume you meant surgical, and autocorrect one-hitted him to remove the armors we've been wearing for months? Yeah, sure. What are your short, mid, and long-term plans for PvP? Okay, at the minute PvP is completely broken, because you can just murder noobs, just wall-to-wall noobs. You can just smash them, and there's absolutely no recourse at all, which is terrible. That's horrendous game design. So I'm hoping that in the short term the community gets sick of everyone murdering each other, and some guilds get together, and one of the guilds is a nice guild that is like just trying to protect the integrity of the community, and then these murderous guilds, I won't name any names, that are just curb stomping everyone at the minute, just get smashed. So yeah, I would encourage you to band together as guilds at the moment and try and just find some sort of equilibrium in the short term instead of just killing noobs, caning noobs for no reason, because it is a big game weakness, and I'm not a fan of punishing people for game weaknesses, because that's not fair at all. But yeah, if you guys could, if a guild could get together to mitigate the curb stomping of the noobs, I'd be quite thankful. The short-term goal for me is a yellow and red skull system. So at the moment, if a white skull player hits you, you can just step into a safe zone, come out, hit him, step in, come out, hit him. That's not going to change because he instigated the fight, so you should be able to defend yourself and get safe. Now, if you just see a white skull player and you start smacking him at the minute, you can go safe and just basically troll, which is really crap. So what's going to happen is when you hit a white skull player, if that white skull player hasn't hit you first, you're going to get a yellow skull, and you are going to be able to see the yellow skull, and the white skull player is going to be able to see the yellow skull, and you're not going to be able to go in a safe zone anymore. And the white skull player will be able to kill yellow skulls with no recourse, the same way that normal players can kill white skulls with no recourse. Now, anyone who has no skull, who is killed by anyone else, so you go and batter someone for no reason because you're bored, if you do that more than 3 times in a week, you're going to get yourself a red skull, and red skulls can be hit by anyone, and they will get no yellow skull or anything. They can just hit you and run in the safe zone. So with a red skull, you are like a huge target for everyone, and that's going to last a week. So if you get 3 unjust kills on someone within a week, you're going to have a red skull for a week. So you guys are going to be really tracking what's going on, who's killing who, and then you're going to have to think about what you're doing when you're just randomly PKing someone. So the obvious question is mid-term then, because you guys all want to fight each other. Guilds, once that's in, mid-term for PvP, you're going to be able to declare war on another guild for a cost, and then you guys are at war for a week, and you 2 guilds can kill each other as much as you want. No skull system for a war guild, and you can be attacked everywhere, even on non-PvP maps, if you're in a war. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. So people are just going to be going to war everywhere. That'll be fun. With regards to not being able to train with people, I'm going to more long term, because it's not immediately required, but there needs to be a mechanism for you and some friends to kind of party up in a PvP way and just have a fight, and it'd be completely fine. So don't worry too much about the training and all of that stuff, because I will set it up so that you don't have to get a skull to like hit your friend and vice versa. But if you think, if you're a white skull and some random dude comes and attacks you because you're training, he's then got a yellow skull, so you can kill him and he can't run away from you, so it's going to be fine. I'm sure there's going to be, just final word on that, I'm sure there's going to be tons of things broken about it. People are going to hate things, I'm going to have to tweak things. Like, I can already see people in the chat are like, no, not like 3 people a week or whatever. Sure, you might be right. I might be out of touch with how the game works, because I haven't been playing much lately. But we can adjust it. It's not final. I'm not Blizzard and just telling you I'm doing this and you're going to like it or fuck off. You know, it's we'll tweak it. We'll adjust it. If a week is ridiculous, a week's ridiculous. So, but I could argue that the average person playing at the bus stop doesn't appreciate getting one hit by someone because they're bored, and they're only going to have to suffer a red skull for like a day, and they're not really playing much tomorrow anyway, so it doesn't matter. That's a bit out of order, isn't it? Just people getting smashed because they might just be wanting to kill monsters. You've got to balance the fun of being able to murder noobs and kill people for insulting you and stuff with the reality that there's a lot of people that will just be doing quests, doing loads of cool stuff, just exploring the world, and it isn't really fun when someone 4 times their level comes along and goes BAM! It's probably funny for you as the high level, but that sort of stuff needs to be mitigated. If you want to have like a crazy PvP war, you get in a guild. If you want to if you want to kick someone around like a football because you've got a reason to, you have the space to do that. You can kill them 3 times, you know, in a week, which is going to be inconvenient for them. But if you just want to kill noobs for no reason, I don't know if that's really a valid excuse for sort of changing the systems, because those noobs are players just like you. And for every person having fun killing noobs, there's all of those noobs that got killed that aren't having fun. So you've got to, you know, it's difficult to balance that stuff. Every game suffers with this that has open PvP. It's a really difficult thing to do, which is why, you know, Tibia's skull system, it's okay, but I think we can make it better. So we're going to sort of take some cues from that and then see what we can do with it. Do you love your staff? I love all of them but one. There's one particular staff member that he knows who he is. Will titles and maybe ranks be a thing? Yeah, we've talked about that with the achievements. Visible above or below names. We talked about why we can't really do that, unfortunately. Could or will targeted events ever be a thing? Like maybe instead of just an all-skill event, just a 200% defense skill boost. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, the reason the event system works how it does at the minute, it's largely an experiment. I basically, the amount of time and money and effort that I've been putting into the game over such a long time, and then when we put it in got the proper server built and hosted and everything, and it started costing me real money every month, I just needed to try and find a way to recover that cost, and to assure myself that there is a future in the game, basically. So it was Zero Mitch's idea actually to get the donation system in as it is. So I would love to add a lot more different and cooler events like when we hit certain donation milestones, like bosses will be spawned and all this kind of thing. But bosses at the moment are pretty crap. That's no secret, and that whole system is a bit suspect, but that's a discussion for another day. Yeah, I'm really sorry about the moths. I don't want to kill them because, you know, when we were just talking about PK and noobs, getting one hit because you're just a minor annoyance is pretty lame, and there's no respawn points for moths. You know, they don't reappear in town. They just auto uninstall. It's like a permaban from life. Yep, that's not a question. What's your take on the current elite system? This was introduced with on average 50 players and 120 max. Even with the XP stages, I feel like a small group and solo hunting has been demolished. I think that small group and solo hunting has been demolished because it is more rewarding to hunt in a group, and people, just the way we work, like in nature, the way everything works is if there's a better way to get ahead, you want to do it, because if you spend an hour doing something and you get 10 of something, but if you spend an hour doing something and you get 15 of something, just doing it a slightly different way, we're always gonna do the second thing. So, and I don't want to make solo hunting like better than group hunting, because that's something that's like the worst part of Tibia. It's an online game where the whole gimmick, the whole cool thing about it is there's people everywhere that you can interact with, but when you actually go to play it and go to hunt, it's like your experience is ruined if you see someone else, because they're in your hunting zone, right? And you want that XP for you, and that seems really stupid to me. It's like, we've got all these people together in the same space, why don't we celebrate that? So I want to preserve that. So I don't think it will ever be as good to solo hunt. I guess you just need to, and the way the XP stuff has changed, like, it's not too much worse to just hunt in a group of 2 or 3. It's not that crazy. The only time the difference is really large is when you've got like 20 people in a death ball smashing stuff down. That's where it accelerates away. And because the game is so small at the moment, you have that a lot. So it's an issue that will be partly mitigated a lot when the world's like 10 times as big as it is now. People are much more distributed because these death balls will be a lot less common. And it's something that you need to decide, I guess, whether, because if you prefer hunting in a small group, just hunt in a small group, it's fine. I think what you're saying is you prefer, at the moment you feel like it's not fair, I guess, and I'd sort of agree. I think the main issue is the death balls, basically, just allow you to pull ahead so much with that XP per hour. So as that becomes less of a thing, I think you'll find the difference between hunting in big groups and hunting with 2 or 3 people becomes less obvious and less common. I think that solo hunting has always been a bit crap, but that's kind of the point. I know some people like solo hunting, but it is an MMO, and there are actually much better single-player games on the market than Mirage, if that's what the kind of experience you're looking for. Obviously, I would like for everyone to be happy to play, but that is a really, that small 2-sentence, 3-sentence question there is such a can of worms. That's really difficult. We're on page 2 actually, you need to keep up, Quentin. Oh yeah, I didn't answer the first part of that question actually. So with the elite system wasn't designed to reward you more for hunting in big groups. The elite system's purpose was actually to slow people down, because at the beginning, when you've got like 15, 20 people running around in one zone, killing non-elite monsters, those things die fast. So it was like everyone was Sonic the Hedgehog, just speeding through, people getting left behind. Like, hunting was stressful and it sucked. So the elite monsters were brought in, A, because they look cool, and B, because I thought it would be a really good idea. It would slow everyone down, which it was really successful at doing. They do give you double experience and all that stuff, but they also have double the health. So I think the elite system works actually. When they hit twice, they've got twice the stats as well. So it's that's why you get the elite gear, to make it a little bit easier if you're the blocker and all that stuff. I think it's cool. It's probably a bit like many things in the game at the moment, it could do with a really good look at, but it's just finding the time to do it. So yeah, I'm aware of the concerns with it and the issues with it and all of this sort of thing, but it's striking a balance. It's like it's spinning plates. Spinning plates, that's the right analogy for it, I think. Also, where do you stand with boss hunting tactics? Yes, I'm talking about behemoths. We created a system to efficiently, with a question mark, defeat semi-boss behemoths, and it turns out you're in disagreement with our system. Even though similar tactics are used on Egon Juga Consti bosses, we cannot do the same with the mini-bosses. My question is, are behemoths too overpowered or too overpopulated? Did you expect a group of 40 plus level 60s to be capable of doing the normal laps in the zone of the behemoths? No, I didn't expect there to be 40 level 60 pluses, to be quite honest. So, no to that. The tactic that you created was funny to watch, but that gameplay is super lame, and it's not what the game's about. So, basically standing half AFK on a square for 10 hours a day because it's the most efficient way to get levels, and tapping one square, is not what Mirage is about, or what made it fun, or what made you want to get to level 60 in the first place. So basically, it's not that I don't like the tactic, it's that that area is designed badly, and that way of playing the game is bullshit and boring and horrible. So rather than make it so that the best way to play the game at high level is stand in one space AFK, I thought I'd just close the whole zone off for now and force you to go and actually play the game. That was kind of it. I'm just forcing everyone to go and play the game, and I'll fix the behemoth situation, and then I'll let you all back in. This topic also brings up this elite system. Players cannot efficiently defeat behes, and 2 or 3 cannot defeat normal behemoths. Consider separate elite requirements for each zone, or even the average power between the current players. No, I don't like that latter idea, because then I want it so that basically, I think the issue is that all the monsters going up to them, to the behemoths, are very linear in difficulty. And then I thought, what I'll do is I'll create an area that isn't actually profitable to hunt, and that is really a bit too hard and a bit taking the mick, and then people will hunt elsewhere to make money. And I'm not sorry, I've got a really itchy nose. and then they'll come to the behemoths to then try and get the best items in the game, which is what drops from those guys. But what happened was everyone got really, really, really powerful, and now just hunt them like trolls. So that wasn't by design. So you shouldn't be able to efficiently kill behemoths. You shouldn't be able to. So I know you're annoyed that you can't just hunt them as if they're slimes or whatever, but that's intended. I want them to kick your ass and you to be like, wow, we're hunting the hard stuff, rather than just, oh, I'm grinding away. So the tactic that came up where everyone got to stand in one square and basically became the definition of, oh, I'm just grinding away, was completely not what that area is about. So yeah, that area will change for the next update. Don't worry too much about it. Is subscription something still planned in the works, or is that something that could be considered pay to win and cause issues for Mirage? Yes, it is a plan. It is still in the works. The idea has always been to offer a full game for free. A subscription would be like just a mandatory donation of like £2 a month, and that's it. And then all it would do is give you access to new areas beyond a certain level. You know, you'll be able to get to level 30, 40 without paying a penny ever. But if you just want to go to the content, if you want to progress to the content beyond that, you know, it's just £2, boom, there's a month, and you get the rest of the entire game. I think it's a nice idea for me, because the reason that I like that is it gives me a bit of security in terms of money coming in every month. I don't think it's pay to win, because all you're doing is you're paying to unlock the rest of the game. You're paying not very much to have access to everything that you can possibly get access to. So I don't think it's pay to win. I think pay to win would be if I said you can pay like £2 and you can access everything, but you can pay £5 and you can access everything, but also some other things, so you couldn't access everything before. You know, like that. That would be pay to win, because then it would be like, if you give me more money, then you like get more stuff, whereas that's not the case. Well, I'll trial it. I mean, if it's pay to play basically. So if it's but it would be pay to play for the higher level players. That's all it is. It's like, I think offering people a game for free to like level 40, and then just asking for £2 once you go beyond that point. I think that way I'm only asking for the subscription for like the people that are already pretty invested in the game, and you know, I feel like by the time you're level 40, when we released, you've probably got your £2 worth. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's too outrageous. And if that's the only thing that you can pay for in the whole game, I think that's like quite a classic model, isn't it? And yeah, there'll be no paying for expansions or anything stupid like that. I think it's really fair. I mean, Tibia, World of Warcraft, Eve, they've all operated on that for ages, and you know, they've survived. Although Tibia lately is, I had a look at it, and that's gone massively pay to win. I don't know what the hell they're thinking, but yeah. Yeah, it would add a new town. It would add many new towns, and new hunting areas and all sorts of things. Just think of it like all the content that you can fight up to, say, level 40, and the whole world up to that is completely free, and you can do whatever you want. You can even level to level 100 in the 40 zones if you really hate me that much, and you don't want to pay for this game. You know, that's fair enough. That's your prerogative. But you know, if you want to unlock the extra stuff, £2, that's nothing really. a month. That's, you know, you spend more than that buying a sandwich where I live for lunch. I feel like the guy making the sandwich hasn't put as much effort into that sandwich as I've put into Mirage, so I feel like it's a fairly fair little ask. Anyway, move on, because this is taking far too long. I need to be snappy with my result. I knew this would happen. I hate pay to win, but I'll pay for visual upgrades. Yeah, I know that would be an easy way to milk you all for money, and it seems to be something that everyone's okay with. I'm not too sold on it, because I would rather, because if we go to the effort of, God, my itchy nose, if we go to the effort of drawing and implementing outfits and things, I'd rather they were rewards for the cool stuff we talked about earlier, like, oh, you killed 500 trolls, cool, now you can have a troll face or something. You know, I feel like that's more fun than just, congratulations, you paid £2, you can now look awesome. That for me is everything that I hate about the gaming industry. I've got no time for that at all. It's ridiculous. I can't even believe it's an acceptable model, you know, just to pay for these little visual things. It's absurd. To me, personally, I think it's nonsense. I think if you see something in the game, you should be able to get it. Like if I'm running around World of Warcraft and I see someone on a cool mount, like when I stopped playing WoW was the point when I looked at some spectral tiger thing that I'm sure we've all seen that someone had, and I was like, that's really cool, I can't wait to have one of them. Then I went and looked up how you get it, and it's like, oh, you've got to, you know, pay this money to get this special card that will unlock it for you. Oh, by the way, a load of douchebags have bought all the cards, and you can only get them for £100 now. It's like, what the hell's that got to do with the game? He should be getting to look awesome in game on that spectral tiger because he has put time in and he is awesome, not because his parents have an awesome bank account. You know what I mean? I just think that's fucking stupid. So I get that everyone is okay with these little visual microtransactions, but I'm really not sold on it, which is why I'd rather do something like the £2 a month pass for the content past level 40 or something like that. So then it only affects players that really like the game, and it's not very much money, and that's it. You know, if you do that, then you got the full game, and you're not looking at other people and going, oh, I want to buy that, oh, I want to look like that. When you are seeing people and going, oh, I want to look like that, you go right to the wiki. I want to know what I have to do to get that, and then you've got more stuff to do, right? You're bored. You're like, oh, I want the troll face thing, so I'm just going to go smash trolls, even though I'm way too high level for them, because I want the awesome troll face. It just gives you stuff to do. It's like a little bit of depth. You know, while you're chatting to your friends or whatever, while you're at the bus stop, you're just grinding away to get this cool thing. So yeah, not sold on pay to win. I think I've got a dry nose. I think that's the problem. Hey, these are my questions. Don't know if I'm lit. Will the game have actual in-game squids? And will they be woomy? I don't know what that means. I can't give you a firm answer on that because I have no idea what content we're going to create for the first version. You've been with us for a long time, Squid Boy, and you're quite active on the forums, so I'll keep it in mind and I'll see if we can sneak a few in there for you. Will the game have Google Play achievements? Yep, we just talked about them, and you're going to get rewarded with outfits and stuff, hopefully. Will the game contain birthday gifts? Like you enter your birthday, and each year the realm will reward you with a personal thingy, but be careful to set your real date. You can't change it. I like that Guild Wars did that, actually. I did like that Guild Wars did that, so that's a cool idea. I like the idea. I mean, I haven't thought about it, but yeah, it seems pretty cool. Will people stop being toxic? You're asking the wrong guy. Like, I get some of the most aggressive and insulting emails and messages on social media and stuff that I've ever seen, you know. I just think with anonymity, people are just horrible. It's like when you take away any real accountability, people just go crazy. It's like that film The Purge. It's like everyone's in the real life. You've got to play it so straight and narrow. Do your job and do your chores and earn your money, and then you get to go on the internet and you can just go mental, and there's no repercussions. So no, I don't think people will ever stop being toxic. Will females be like, this is visual abuse? I don't think so. Yeah, the majority are lemmings. I think, yeah, so Mombi has very kindly been working very hard on a lot of graphics for the game that none of you guys have seen. And we've got a lot of stuff now, a lot of assets for the game, outfits. We've got female sprites. We've got all kinds of cool stuff, tons of different hairs. I don't want to spoil too much, but there's loads of stuff that isn't in the game yet because he added some new frames to the animations, so I've got to change the game engine to put them in. But they look really. I think they look really cool. I don't think they. Some of the early sprites that we had actually, because you've got hardly any pixels, it's like how do you make them look like girls instead of boys? So some of the sideways sprites were very like that, which was pretty awesome. Well, awesome probably isn't the word, but it was pretty funny. But it's ended up where they don't look like that. They actually look pretty good. So no, I don't think they will be like. Will I notice your humble questies? Yes, I believe I have noticed you. Senpai has noticed you. Name's always said no pay to win, and I think he really means it. Yeah, just so there's absolutely no question about that. I 100% mean it. I'm not a company. I don't have any. Like, this for me is like a passion thing. I want to create a good game, and I want people to respect the choices that I've made as a developer. So never pay to win. Never, ever. That'll never happen. Yeah, it just won't happen. So don't worry about it. What are your thoughts on implementing the guild system? Yes, I want a guild system very much. I would have a guild system already if I'd had the time to write it because I want it that much. Along with a chat to the guild. How will guild members be recognized by players? So when you click on a player at the moment and you have that little button that you can press that lets you trade with them and stuff, you'll see the guild name there and you'll be able to press it and see all the other people in the guild and who's online and all that sort of stuff. So there'll be that. And then if they're in your guild, as we said earlier, you should see a little icon next to them. And if they're in a guild that you're currently at war with, you should see an icon that's very obviously we are at war with them and you can hit them. Will the skills really matter with the arrival of spells? Yes, because spells, both unlocking them and the damage they do, will be based on skills. So at the moment, it seems like the skills that you have, although they do have an effect, they don't have a massive effect on if you so to speak, on my nose, guys. God, this stream is just like him itching his nose. They don't have a massive effect on your damage output, and it looks like a weakness of the game. But the damage that you do at the minute, that tap things and auto hit it, auto attack should be like the lowest damage you deal. So when you're using your abilities and your skills, it should be really obvious. If someone's got 10 more attack than you, they should be hitting pretty, you should be like, that dude is stronger than me. So yeah, the skills will really matter on two counts. One, the damage, and two, the healing or the power of the skills and abilities, and two, that you'll actually unlock them by skilling up. So there'll be, you know, at the beginning of the game you won't really have any abilities, and then like, oh, congratulations, you got like 15 distance. You can now use this cool skill that you couldn't before. And you'll have like a little tree, and you can choose what ones you want, and it'll be really cool. Yeah, they'll be really important. About titles, would you consider to add titles for top players in level, magic, distance, melee, or defense, or the ranking is enough? It's an interesting one. That would be quite competitive, wouldn't it? I haven't really thought about it at all. It sounds interesting. And what you would just keep the title while you were the top level or whatever. That could get really competitive. Like the grind might become. We might ruin some people's lives with that. I like it. We'll see. It's an interesting idea. Needs some thought. Jesus, I think I need to moisturize my nose before I go insane. If you actually implement titles, how would it be viewed by players? Play a card that we can see for titles and guild. Yeah, that's basically where they would live, because we can't stick them on screen. It's too cluttered already, and we've hardly got anything on there. What's my favourite food? That changes all the time. I'd say today my favourite food is probably like a really nice dry cheese on crackers, on some good crackers. That's my favourite food today. But it'll be different when I wake up tomorrow. It changes all the time. When is boss event? I'm sorry, that's classified. Liam, will you add a sword sprite for knight at level 50? Now it's on the axe to choose. I wish to keep the sword. No, but I will be adding like billions of back item unlocks for all kinds of things, so there'll be a number of swords for you to choose from. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Not a question, but a suggestion. Make some sort of click to advertise on forum links. Click to advertise on forum links, which would bring money to the server, and add counter of this money clicks to forum profile. This way we could bring more money to the game. You could consider some rewards to the highest donors, but nothing in game value. Make some sort of click to advertise on forum links. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you would get your unique trackback URL, and then people that click that, it would then be attributed to you, and then you would get rewarded for bringing people in. I get the idea. I think bringing people to the game isn't really an issue at the moment. I think retaining them and keeping all of you guys that are playing at the minute and are pretty bored entertained is probably a bigger thing. So that's certainly an advertising strategy, but I don't think we need to advertise yet. I'll advertise the game after we hit version 1, not before, really. Same for real cash donors. They should get some sort of title that would expire, be a reflecting amount paid. I don't like that, because that's dangerously close to pay to win. You're not winning anything, but what you are winning is like you stand out in the community more than someone else who maybe doesn't have the money to donate or donate as much. So I know that a lot of places do that kind of thing, but I would rather someone donates money because they like the game, and they don't expect anything back other than like a thank you perhaps from me and other players. I'd rather build that kind of community than one where, you know, it's like those old paid Open Tibia servers when you used to go in, and then there'd be like all the dudes that are donators are like looked up to and things, despite the fact they're just the same as you, just because they've got like a special name. A bit like the CMs were when they had CM in front of their name. It was a bit too much specialness for nothing, so I don't think I'm really a fan of that. When you make guilds, make them level with players. That would blah blah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Similar to sort of how WoW's guild system works now. It's certainly an option, but it's again that's like a lot of work, that kind of thing, like a huge amount. So it's perhaps, I mean, there's a reason WoW didn't have that for a very long time, and it's because it's a ton of work and it has to play with everything else in the game at the time. So I like the idea of that kind of thing, that guild progression. I don't think we're going to have that for a very long time, so I don't want to get your hopes up. Add emote above player who was muted so everybody knows he was naughty and can't say a word. That's really cool, actually. I hadn't considered that. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I like that idea. I think we should do that. So you can see if someone's been a muppet. Yeah, that would be cool. Add something on chat, let people know you can't talk back. Yeah, some sort of like little icon. So yeah, no, I like that. That's pretty cool. Or it like fades them out a bit, because I've got the for all of the class colors, I've got like equivalent colors that are like faded versions. You see them on the item tooltip bits when it's got like say the item you're equipping now doesn't have stats that the other one's got. They'll be like grayed out a bit, and yeah, we can do something like that. That'll be fun. I won't be able to hear your answers, so Lex, please note them for me. Okay, I assume Lex is noting them for you. Once the female, this is from Aimlich, once the female gender is implemented, will it make only a visual difference, or will there also be differences in skill training speed between a male and a female from the same class? Oh, this is 2017, that's a bit controversial, isn't it? No. Lead to more diversity. I wouldn't call it that, to be honest. I think if someone wants to play Mirage and they just want to be the gender they are in real life, I don't think they should have to think about how it's going to affect their character. I mean, we play games to escape all of this, right? I don't really agree with that. Guild houses still planned? Yeah, man, not houses, but farms. But I'm not going to talk about that now because that's top secret. If so, will they be customizable? How? I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. How much time does it generally take you to code an update? What's the longest time it took you and the shortest? The longest time it's taken me is the time now, so it's now been over a month since the last real update anyway. And that's just because I haven't been working on it because I've been busy. Generally, I will say something stupid like, oh yeah, we're going to have an update on the weekend and it'll be Thursday, and then I won't sleep and I'll kill myself writing a load of stuff that doesn't 100% work to force an update in, and then spend the next week fixing it. So I would say average general time to code an update going forwards would be 2 to 4 weeks, but the updates will be sizable. Finally, the most important question of all, favourite food meal. I've already sort of answered that one. If you have one, what's your favourite colour? I actually really like yellow. I'm weird like that. I'm a bit colourblind, so I can't really tell the difference between blues and greys depending on where they are. So I don't know, yellow really stands out to me, possibly because of my colour blindness. It just really gets me. So yeah, but I only like it when it's like motorcycles or like a sports car or something. They look good in yellow. I wouldn't paint like my bedroom yellow or something. I'm not a maniac. Can CMs look like New York cops to get all the hate? No, but if anyone hates any aspect of how the community is being managed, I encourage you to message Ativ in game and tell him how you hold him personally responsible for the conduct of the entire team, because he's really pulling the strings here. All the bad decisions that have been made, the wrong bans, everything, it's pretty much just that guy. So let him know. Will you give some rewards for the first 6 players of each class that reach level 100? I talked about that a bit earlier. Is the pictures folder in the Mirage Realms wiki are the skin is the pictures folder in the Mirage Realms wiki are the skins of the next weapons? Are you going for Topazius's title of best English sentence ever? I don't know because I haven't seen them, but if they've taken them out of the game client, then yeah, possibly. Will there be enchantments or upgrades for weapons and armors? I've talked about them earlier as well. Will there be a Christmas pie and a Half-Life pie for the Half-Life 3 announcement? If Half-Life 3 is announced, yeah, I'll implement a special pie. Sure, because I can't ever see that happening, so it's not something I'll ever have to do. Will there be a point spending menu for new coming skills? Yeah, we talked about that, absolutely. Will there be new consumables in the future, like experience potions from Event Boss, or walk speed boost potions, or just alchemy? I'd consider all of those things buffs, so yeah, as we talked about earlier, I think so. Yeah, I would certainly like to do that. Will there be a party/group/guild hub so we can gain shared experience or other things? Yeah. I can't really go too much into detail because I'm heavily in the planning of guilds at the minute in my notepad. But yeah, there will be benefits to hunting with guild members. And there might even be benefits to controlling certain areas, PvP zones, with guild members as well. So watch this space for that. How does a defense skill actually affect damage reduction? I'm level 74 with 80 defense, but I've noticed people with 1 or 2 levels on me with like 60 to 70 defense take less damage from mobs. So the way defense works at the moment is it takes your armor value and it modifies that by a percentage. So if they're taking less damage than you, it's likely they've got stronger equipment. Basically, it's very equipment heavy at the moment. It might be changed in the future to be the other way around, so it's more skill dependent, but I'm not sure. So I've got the world's biggest daddy long legs in the room, and it's doing my head in. I'm gonna have to get it. 1 second. Oops. Oh my god. Freaking thing. God damn it. Okay, it's gone. Ridiculous. Yeah, I've shut the window quite a bit more. Okay, so what are we doing? How does the defense skill actually... Yeah, so at the minute it's just a modification on... yeah, bugs. It's just a modification on your armor value. So people will generally... People that know how the game works or have figured it out will generally wear just knight equipment when they know they're going to be taking damage, because it means that their defense will then be being applied better to the knight equipment. But the thing is, your attack works the same way, so you're sacrificing quite a lot of damage by doing that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that in the future. I could... It's been discussed, the idea of locking pieces of equipment to classes, which is something that I might do, like the weapons are at the moment. But I haven't thought enough about it and about the consequences of it to be confident that doing it will really fix anything without making the game less fun, you know? So it could be, that could be the solution, or something else could be the solution. I don't know, but that's why. When spells come, will solo hunting become viable? It sucks having to rely on other people for you to get good experience. We talked about that quite a lot earlier. I'd just see my earlier comments because it's getting pretty late now. Can you add some quests in the next update? Secret areas, new add-ons like hats, outfits. Also, can you do better bosses and make able to XP without groups and wasting pots? You don't want very much, do you? Jesus Christ. No. The next few updates are pretty planned out, and none of those things are planned to be in it, I'm afraid. My question is, what inspired you to make Mirage? I've talked about this quite a lot, but basically just growing up playing Zelda Link to the Past, and then playing things like Tibia, and just I've always really liked Game Boy Color games like the Pokemon games and the Zelda DX and Oracle of Seasons and Ages and all that sort of stuff, and I've always just had this I've always wanted for Tibia to be a Zelda game on the Game Boy, I guess. So I'm gonna that's effectively the dream. Hi, will you ever add pets and or mounts? Maybe. We talked about pets and I sort of half implemented them and then got distracted. There's quite a lot in the code now that in a lot of areas, pets is one of them that isn't active at the moment, but yeah, I think pets will be a thing. Will you make bosses spawn automatically at certain dates like Christmas or something? Possibly. There's a lot of problems with the way bosses work at the minute, and getting 200, 300, 400 people on one map attacking one mob is pretty lame. So I think what I'd rather do is have seasonal instance challenges that you can do with just your friends. So 5 to 10 people can go and fight a boss designed for 5 to 10 people at the sort of level they're at, and then get the rewards for it, rather than everyone piling together, because at the minute I think it's pretty lame. So yeah, I'd like seasonal events like that, but I think there are core systems that need to go in before we can do it very well, you know, like the instance type stuff. That's really important. Will you ever add in-app purchases? No. No, I won't. Hopefully you'll answer at least one of my questions. Although number 3, where you said will you ever add in-app purchases, there's some things you're going to be able to do, but they're not anything to do with gameplay. Just like if you want to change your character's gender, or you want to recover a deleted account, because the reason you can't delete accounts at the moment is because I want it so that when you delete it, you can then, if you decide at a later date, oh crap, I shouldn't have deleted that character, you can recover it for like £1 or something. So that's the only reason you can't delete them at the moment. I know that's super annoying, but that's the thought behind it. So they'll kind of go in a little temporary bin over here, and you'll be able to just pay £1 and get them back. So there'll be that sort of thing, but nothing actually really that will affect gameplay at all. Events are kind of boring, they're all XP based and skill based. Is there any improvements in the event where we can enjoy some exclusive loot or item? Yes, I really want to do that. I talked about this a bit earlier. It's very basic at the moment. All the events are just things that I could add in about an hour and a half. I did the entire event system from start to finish after work one night, from I think about 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and then deployed it. So that was 2 hours of solid, hard work to get it to where it is. So yeah, I'd love to add a load of new stuff. Half the community are botter or less. I have stats on the amount of people using macros, and it's not half. I have no evidence for it. Oh, well, yeah, cool. I have evidence that you're wrong. But can you build a system that can ward off botters or even detect anomalies in game or modifications? It's already there. I'm just not taking action on it yet. That's all it is. It's already there. I just haven't mass banned everyone because I need to be 100% sure it works before I go deleting 10,000 accounts, you know? But that stuff, the reckoning will come, don't worry. They're actually very easy to detect. Will you ever increase bank capacity to 1,000 cap. Oh, sorry, just on the previous question, when I say they're very easy to detect, the kind of ways people are cheating in Mirage are very basic. And some of the funny, weird little bots that I've seen some people are trying to write are really crap and really, really easy to test for. So detecting little macros set up is pretty straightforward. Will you ever increase bank capacity to 1,000 cap? Yes. Will bank can hold? There, Topazius is going for your title again. Gold, silver, copper currency because it's missing that feature. Yeah, I know it is, and it's really annoying that it's missing that feature. Yes, is the answer to that. It was just quite a bit of work to do it because although you see when you pick them up and trade them gold, silver and copper as items, they're not actually items. It's all smoke and mirrors, so there's some technical challenges I need to overcome to do that. The game is really exciting, but will you add a world map? I'd like to, but I'd like it to be something functional instead of just like a picture. Ideas on a postcard for how it can work. I would really like to. I've thought about it a lot at the start and haven't yet done anything. So the attack speed is too slow. Any idea to increase speed per the attack speed per level? The problem with the increasing the attack speed is this is predominantly a mobile game played by people with really, really shit internet connections. So, and even if they've got a good internet connection, the networking modules in phones, although they're getting better now, are really bad. So if I increase the attack speed, you're suddenly getting a lot more packets when a lot of people in your zone are attacking things. So the pace of the game is designed for the phone, and it will stay that way. I can't see base attack speed being increased at all because it's at a sweet spot now. It's perfect for the mobile platform. Obviously, you're going to have skills and things like this time in a few months. Just the basic attack, you won't even notice it really. You'll be smashing spells and things all the time, and there'll be a lot going on other than just the bang, bang, nonsense that we've got at the minute. Improve the ignore system. Suggest improvements for the ignore system, I guess. Will you ever add a back weapon sprite for level 100, 150, 200 soon? I will do. I'm not sure about soon. I suggest add a health fountain and mana fountain, so it will be a good idea. I've thought about this, similar to how Diablo 2, and I think maybe Diablo 3 had them, but they weren't as memorable. It's certainly an idea, but at the moment it's just that. It's just an idea. There's no plans to do anything about it. Importantly, any plans to add a setting where we can change our password and username via email verification? Well, as soon as you have registered an email address against your account, you can log in using that email address now. And the password change is coming in the next update. So yes, I guess. Any plans of adding a setting that we can customize our controls, D-pad, resize, change sensitivity, sort of? Yeah, no, I have plans to do all of that. To make so you can flip the whole screen around if you want, if you're like left-handed or whatever. I do have plans to do that. That is in the long backlog to do this. Does pineapple belong to pizza? Yes, it does. Scripted disagrees. Are you going to add universal weapons? If I had any idea what you were asking, I'd love to answer, but that's not enough information, sorry. You could mean anything, really. Will Grand Exchange from RuneScape be in Mirage Realms or a similar thing? I never really played RuneScape, but Grand Exchange sounds like a kind of auction house type thing. And yeah, I absolutely have plans for there to be an auction house. Why did you add the gold for not being killed at PvP rule? Why did you add the gold for not being killed at PvP? I'm sorry, I'm really tired. I can't process what you're asking. That's too broken for me to get. I'm sorry, it's been a very long day. Why did you add the gold for not being killed at PvP? I can't understand it. I'm sorry. Hidden. Ask me another time in a slightly better way. I can't quite. I'm absolutely shattered. I'm too tired to figure it out. Liam, how much you punish me ban in game? I don't. How much you punish me in game? All the punishments that have been handed out to you have been by other people. So I'm sorry, I'm a bit too busy to kind of personally ban your dumb ass. Sorry, dude. So none, I haven't punished you at all. Dear Liam, do you still plan on adding crafting, fishing, farming, and play housing? Jesus. We talked about this, my sort of solution to how the crafting is going to work. Fishing, yeah, everyone loves fishing. I'd like that to. I have no idea about how, but I would like it if that was some kind of mini game instead of just a press one button and wait situation. So yeah, I'd like there to be some kind of fishing. Farming, farming will be important for guilds, and I can say no more. Also, would like instance dungeons sometime in the future with 4 bosses a dungeon. That's very specific. Maybe some puzzle mechanics. Yeah, instance dungeons, Zelda-style puzzle mechanics with bosses. 100% on my roadmap of things to do. Those things are coming. Will there be soulbound item drops that people have to grind for? I don't think so, no. I always hated that. Untradeable items that can only be obtained by luck. No, I don't like that. I don't know if any of you played Diablo 3 online, but that game died for me when I learned how that worked. Like the luck chance with legendaries and getting the specific builds for the specific things, and it was literally just to smash your face against an RNG wall for like hundreds, if not thousands, of hours to get anywhere because you couldn't get them from other. Nah, not for me. Would be cool because you can just buy every new piece of gear that gets added. Yeah, but I think buying the gear is a completely legit strategy. At the minute, all the gears, the world isn't very big and there isn't very much gear, so everyone gets all the new stuff really quickly. I don't think the problem is people being able to buy it. I think the problem is a lack of diversity in a really small world and a limited amount of things to buy and get, which has saturated it, which makes it seem trivial when if there was much more to get and much more effort involved in obtaining certain things, like say one-off quests to get certain items, etc., that would be less of an issue. I think, there's only one way to find out. Will there be game sounds and music coming anywhere soon? I'm afraid not anytime soon. I get asked about this a lot. I would really like to do it. I think it's important for the brand, I guess, of Mirage Realms. I mean, you hear the Zelda music and you just instantly you're there playing Zelda. You know everything you need to know. So yeah, I would love to do that, but I don't have the time or energy to put into music right now. And shout out to my hashtag Salt Guild homies. Shout out to them. Liam, I really need to know if you could be a squirrel for 24 hours, what would you do and why? So we've overran by 40 minutes and I'm answering questions about being a squirrel. Okay, if I could be a squirrel for 24 hours, I would immediately run onto a motorway and throw myself under the nearest lorry, because what can you achieve as a squirrel? I mean, you just have to eat. That's literally all a squirrel has to do. Like, what is your goal in life? Eat. They spend like most of their time collecting nuts to bury so they can dig them up and eat them. That's like the eat class. I could not be bothered with that. What happens when you're bored? Like, no, I'll just run under a lorry. There are 5 pages of questions, so sorry if this has been answered already. That's okay, dude. In the long term, I'm shattered. In the long term, is Mirage going to be entirely combat based, or will there, as is the case with RuneScape and similar, be other things you can spend time doing training, such as farming, woodcutting, fishing, etc.? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you will have skills that you can level up in those disciplines, because creating a whole progression path and then making the things that you can create and do relevant to the main game mechanics, as I discussed earlier, is a big job. But I certainly like the idea of there being things that you can go off and do in all different directions, that are not just kill the thing. So that might be certain ingredients and things, maybe soulbound and only attainable every so often by individual players. So if you decide, oh, I want to create the ultimate cake of oblivion, then you might have to go and collect things from all over the place and do certain tasks. So instead of just kind of like making a little number rise, I'd rather have people actually have to go out and collect things and do little quests and things to achieve stuff. I think it's more fun, and as I discussed earlier, it's actually less work for me to do that, which is a bit counterintuitive if you think all the big games don't seem to use that system. But I can see why they don't, because people don't expect that, I guess. Keep up the good work. Thanks, man. Hi Liam, thanks for the Q&A. Is there any to get in contact with you and your team without the rest of the players knowing? Yeah, just whisper one of the CMs or whatever with what you want to help with, and they're kind of my filter, so they'll relay a message to me if they think it's worthwhile doing. I know that sounds a bit petty, but I just get so many people trying to contact me, offering me thousands of pounds, offering me this, offering me that every day, that I guess rather unfairly blanket ignore everyone these days, because I'd never get anything done. So yeah, just contact one of the CMs, or just send me a private message on the forum. That's one of the few things that I do actually read. HillVDK, shout out guys. Hey Liam, thank you for taking the time. Oh, this is Omni, cool. Sending you lots of love, hope you're enjoying your new place. I'll be enjoying it more if I could have the window open and not melt to death, because all the insects of the world want to come into my office. You're saying for doing this, cool. You mentioned a way for friends to duel without a skull. I suggest a /duel command and both players enter it and it confirms the duel. That would be a really easy way to do it. Unfortunately, what we've learned with the email verification system is that people are idiots and can't use commands, so I suspect I'll be implementing a user interface that lets you do this exact thing, but just without having to type /duel whoever. So yeah, that would totally work, but people wouldn't get it because people don't seem to be able to use commands, which is really frustrating to me. I'm a developer, so I guess, you know, what seems natural to me is unnatural to other people. When should we expect Behemoths to be open? Just next update. Plans for 80, 100, etc. releases. Next update. How soon will we see the new graphics implemented? Not on the window of it. Oh, it's so warm in here. Stupid old computers, like a fire. How soon will we see the new graphics implemented? I honestly don't know. They'll probably come in dribs and drabs as I implement features and areas that require them, rather than just being like, here's all the new graphics. Level 100 has trouble killing level 50, even though they're double their level. Anyway, crits could do 200 to 300 damage instead. It would be easy to dual players and things. I talked about earlier a bit how your auto attack is going to be like your lamest attack. So I think once skills and spells are in, a level 100 will not have any trouble killing a level 50. And you'll probably be telling me that I need to make everyone a little bit stronger, because people are going to be hitting some numbers, yo. Will you be putting limits on how many people can join a guild? No. No, I don't have any plans to do that. Yeah, I can't see why I should have to put a limit on that. I think if someone wants to have a 10,000 player guild, why not? You know, if people want to band together as friends, let them. That's what I say anyway. They should hopefully self-manage once the features are in the game to allow people to properly band together. The community should find some sort of equilibrium. What about Gil Chat? Yeah, it will just be a channel that you can see when you're in a guild with the other channels. I might make it so that it's forced to be open all the time, similar to our moderator chat that we have that you guys won't know about. That's always open, so I might do the same with the guild chat. So if people are in your guild, they'll have that chat open, so you can always get in touch with them. Would we be able to set our own message of the day for the guild to see upon logging in? Absolutely, yep, that's definitely a thing. How about sending guild mail that would send a notification to the member's phone and basically tell them to get on and read it? Could have a cooldown. I can see why you'd want it. I think that's quite a lot of effort when email's kind of already invented. I think because we're on phones, I probably just trust people to get to know each other a bit and share emails and things, and lean on that for now, at least, because that's quite a big ask really for where the game is right now, or where it will be when guilds are in. What do you think about leveling guilds up? I talked about that a bit earlier. Also guild banks. Yeah, I haven't thought about it, but yeah, I don't see any reason why not. I've noticed a lot more battery drain with the new light system. I can average 7 or 8 hours on my phone, one charge, and since the update it's gone to about 5 or 5.5 hours. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Mirage, prior to the lighting system, had absolutely no graphical effects. So I'm not surprised that you could run your phone with it as long as you kind of could Skype or something. Although Skype would probably be less than 5 or 5.5 hours if you ran it solid. I don't have any plans to refine it at the moment, if I'm honest. I think it's pretty standard among mobile games to smash batteries a little bit. I can't actually see how I would make it more efficient. The way it works is like extremely efficient now. It had to be, because if you were there when I was adding the lighting stuff, you'll all know what it was like when I dropped the first one and everyone had like 20 frames a second and it was terrible. So yeah, I'm not sure if I can do anything about that, if I'm totally honest. Although if it is a wider issue and lots of people are having battery issues with it now since the lighting update, I can go and look at it in more detail. I personally haven't had that on my, and I've got quite an old phone. I've got one of the old HTC One M8s. But if people on older phones are having more problems, then maybe I'll see if I can do something about it. What I can think of now. Thank you, PS, I'm a Muppet. Yeah, you too, buddy. Can I get a Jester outfit? Nope. Could you change cooldown? Could you change cooldown thing with mana and health potions? Kind of sucks to have to choose which one option I want to use, because when I'm using mana potion, I have cooldown on both. People use mana potions? I'd say, why are you using mana potions? They're completely useless at the moment. They share a cooldown deliberately because mages have no business using health potions in the near future. Mages will have the ability to heal themselves and people around them via a wide array of spells, and your way of being able to use your spells is going to be via mana potion boosts. So I would expect you to be using mana potions and then using the far more powerful healing spells instead, rather than health potions. So that is deliberate, believe it or not, and that's planning for the future rather than now. I just sell all the mana potions, man, and stop using them. You don't need them. Could you add ignore list? There's not really a need for it at the moment because it just ignores them for this session you're online. I can make it much more persistent server side, and I probably will at some point and give you a list of who you're ignoring, etc. So yes, I could, but not in the near future. Could you change place of add friend button and move it to the top of friends list? My friends list is long as fuck and I have to scroll all the way down to add someone. It's annoying when you are using Cell. I don't really like buttons at the top like that. I know that there are a few screens in the game that have them at the top like that, but I find them annoying because you have to kind of like reach over your phone with your thumb to press them, right? I think what I'd rather do is make it so that the friends list scrolls and the add friend button doesn't. So then that problem goes away. Let me write that down because that's a really easy thing to fix. 1 second. Cool, yep, that'll be done for the next update because that's a tiny little thing to fix. I can see how that's pretty annoying. Elite system is kind of lame. You should boost normal monsters and elite should be activated when you get 15 plus or something like that group. High level it's not challenging anymore and elites are not slowing anyone. Yeah, we talked about this earlier with the groups and how the world's too small and people are all too concentrated. Until we have a much bigger world and people are much more distributed, I think changing the system would be preemptive at this point. Hey Liam, thanks for the work done so far. No worries, bro. Will there be different classes, for example, mage being able to heal and knight being more of a damage dealer instead of just being a tank? Yeah, I would like that very much. I made a forum post quite some time ago now talking about the idea of passive abilities that you'll be able to spec into that will allow you to kind of choose your playstyle a bit more, and I still plan to do that. And that combined with the ability of only being able to have like 4 spells or abilities active at any time, I think will allow you to give, if the spells are thought through well enough and diverse enough to build your class differently. So yeah, they won't be like, okay, I'm a healer now, I press the I'm a healer button. It will be more like you'll have like 20 spells and different passive abilities and you'll have to sit back and think like, okay, what do I actually want to, we're going to go and me and my guild are going to go and hunt this place, what would be the best for us, how should I kit myself out? I think that's more fun if I can pull it off. It's going to be a nightmare to balance, but that's not your problem really. So yeah, it's a short answer. Will there be any different kinds of events than the ones currently? Yeah, I've talked about this. Yes, short answer. You were talking about instances. How many people per instance are we looking at? I don't know. I don't know what would be best. You could say 3, you could say 5, you could say 10. I honestly have no idea. That's something that I'll have to look at based on the core engine game mechanics that are in place at the time when I come to start creating this content. 10 players is a lot to have in one place. I think I prefer smaller groups, so I'm thinking more towards like 3 or 5, because then the puzzles can be more intimate, if that makes any sense. You know, if you've got 3 people and you all need to do like a very specific thing, that's an easy puzzle for me to create. if I've got to try and think what are 10 people going to do to solve a puzzle, that is going to slow down the development process quite a lot. So probably through sheer necessity, we're looking at sort of 3 to 5, just because of design restrictions and time that it would take to develop these things and create the content and stuff. So I wouldn't get too excited about huge 30-man raids or anything like that, not in the near future anyway. Will there be boss instances to say 5 to 10 players instead of, yes, yeah, there will. There absolutely will. And these will be seasonal. They'll be triggered by events, as we talked, the donation events. Portals will just open in town, and it'll be like, right, get your 9 best friends, and let's go smash Egon or whatever. And the bosses will be designed for much smaller groups of people. The way it works at the moment is pretty terrible. Keep up the great work. Love the game. Thank you. I'm trying. Hello Liam. I've already posted questions on old forum, but it's gone now. I'm going to speed read this because I really need to go to sleep. Does this chipset of the world is permanent? Topazia's, I think someone's just dethroned you. If he's even still up watching this, you've been beaten. I think that's a graphics question and a world question. The world map is going in the bin completely, and most of the graphics of the world are being replaced or have already been replaced by Mombi, but it just isn't live yet. So it's not permanent, I guess is the answer to that. There will be any sound, mostly sound effects? Oh, I've talked about that. I'd love there to be, but it's just finding the time and the resource to do it. So we know there will be a new hero classes. How will you choose them? Create a new character, or bam, you have it. Choose knight, and maybe level 20 you can choose a subclass. I think I talked about this in the last question with regards to how you build your character with your traits and your spells and abilities. So it will be less of a concrete thing and more of a how you, like the original Guild Wars, how you choose your build. And then it's not like you're a healer just because the game tells you you're a healer. It's like, I'm a healer because I freaking equipped all healing stuff and traded into healing. You know, it's a much more. You've made the decision. You can be whatever you want to be depending on your combination of skills and what works for you. Pet/taming system. It sounds like a really cool, fun idea. Also sounds like a hell of a lot of work. So maybe I like the idea of it, but not in the near future, unfortunately. Death penalty plans. So I've talked about this on the forums quite a bit, and death penalties are something that we're going to have, but they're not going to be taking away your skills or your experience or anything nasty like that. Basically, you would just drop the items in your inventory. And your equipment will lose some durability. They're the two things at the moment. So we needed a bank so you could store things, so you don't always have to drop everything you're carrying. But yeah, and if you have, say, stacked items, so you've got like 100 potions, you'll have like, say, a 10% chance to drop, and then 8% of them. So when you die, you'll have a chance of dropping items, which will make it, you won't want to die anymore because you don't want to drop items that you've picked up or are carrying. But it's unfair to do anything like that before people can like travel easily to town and back, because at the minute the quickest way to town is to die, and that works for me because it means I don't have to implement like a Hearthstone or portals or anything just yet. So once all of that's in place, then we'll talk death penalties. How do you feel about the balance between classes for now? I think rangers are pretty good in PvP. I think they're really good in PvP. I think knights are probably the strongest PvE characters. And they're also, if you have a high level knight, they're a different PvP role because they're basically indestructible. Mages, I think, are really, they suck at the moment, and they need a lot of help, and I think the spells and abilities will fix them, because I think they're way too squishy for the damage that they can dish out at the moment. So mages will be made, their spells and the damage they'll be able to deal will be huge compared to the other two classes, because at the moment I don't see any reason to pick a mage over a ranger. Personally, I think the game's broken in that regard. So when skills and spells get here, mages are going to be getting buffed. Charged attacks for greater damage, crit chance. Yep, I talked about this a little bit in the skills and spells thread. Please go and read that. I don't really want to go over it too much because I'm dying of heat and tiredness. So go read the skill and spell ideas thread, please, for my idea of how each ability will have two modes effectively, depending on a long press or a short tap. Any skill sneak peek? Nope, afraid not. Any chance for adding the script for changing your nickname? Yeah, that'll be coming in the next update, because we need a way to name lock people, because at the minute banning new players forever because they've chosen a stupid name is just not a very good way of retaining players. What do you think about training dummies? I know it was mentioned earlier and it was mostly rejected because everyone would want to train on them. Yeah, no, I hate it. I think the moment you facilitate some kind of really efficient and low effort way to do something like that, as soon as you glorify skill training, it's like, yeah, this is a thing that the game lets you do really easily. I think it sucks. And I think Tibia proved that when they added the stupid skill training statues. We all thought we wanted it, and then as soon as they implemented it, it was crap. Because suddenly skills didn't mean anything. Oh, you got 100 attack? Well, yeah, bully for you. You just remember to log in at midnight every night for the last 2 months and tap on a statue. Grats, that must have been really hard for you to get. Nah, I don't like training dummies and all of that sort of stuff. Easter eggs. I don't know if you mean actual Easter eggs or Easter eggs in game. When the version 1 content is being developed, I want to put lots of pop culture and community references all over the world, scattered and hidden. So there'll be that kind of Easter egg. As for actual Easter eggs, yeah, I guess we could have an Easter event when the game's at a point where I have the time to actually implement events. That could be fun. An honor system. It sounds like a good idea, but that's really easy to abuse, because say you've been being really nice to people for a while and you've spent ages getting positive honor, and then you piss off one guy who has a lot of influence in a very large guild and they all give you minus points. Suddenly you're going to have the worst honor of all time, and it's just going to be another way for people to abuse each other, because if there's one thing that can be certain, it's that people will be douchebags. So yeah. Who is Kale? He surely made a good gear in the game. He was a guy, there was an open source project that I worked on that created the first version of Mirage Realms, and it was a game engine called the Mirage Source, and there is a chap who goes by that name who bought a license, or the license for it, before it went open source, and he created a game engine called Player Worlds. And back in the day, that was amazing. It was really good, and it fueled a lot of the fire in me for creating my own game. So whereas he himself was extremely lazy, I never spoke to him, and I know nothing about him. Like, the name stuck in my head, and it's part of the sort of lineage of Mirage. So I just felt like it was a cool little Easter egg. There we go, that's topical to chuck in the game. Will elite training weapons return in any time soon, they're still there. You just got to do. You got to find a bug basically that is an important bug, and then you get an elite training weapon as by way of thanks. They're just little trophies basically for finding the cool bug and helping me out. Any chance for animal outfit? I want my fox outfit. Who knows, man? The outfits are going to get crazy when we start adding them. Like, you're going to have people running around looking like all sorts. I mean, we're going to have squids by the sounds of it, so sure, a fox, why not? When will you make this game live up to its name? I don't know what you mean. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really have a name. So yeah, I don't know what you mean. Live up to its name. If we have a name, I think it's a name that it's earned, because it's not like I've like heavily advertised it or promised like the greatest AAA gaming experience ever. So I wasn't aware it had a name. If it has a name for itself, then I don't know how to make it live up to it, sorry. Next big donation goes towards buying a ring. Is this a possibility? I think my missus would be very happy to hear you say that. I don't know. That's a very scary and personal question. I don't know. It depends on the donation. Here we go. Now we've got to the nonsense. I think a lot of people in the community would like to help other than just by playing. What is the best way to do this, or what do you need from us the most? For example, do you need bits and pieces of code, graphics, ideas for puzzles, quests to get flippers, or make it to the next enemy area? Okay, so here's the thing. Yes, I totally want help, but everyone wants to help, and like less than 1% of you have the, how do you say it, like nicely, like the experience and the skills necessary to like really help. So I don't really need like Mombi's got the graphics covered. He's really good. Ideas for puzzles and quests, that's not really going to help me right now because I'm not that far down the line. The best way that you guys can help me is just by trying to foster like a sort of respectful and friendly community. Like, just if you see people being like abused or new players lost and things like that, just try and be nice to them, because honestly the thing that I can't do is be online and look after everything all of the time. And unfortunately, the time when I'm not online is the time most people are experiencing the game. So if there's some big community issues going on, if people are abusing things, if everyone's being horrible to each other, and I'm not there to stop it, you know, you end up with a lot of people getting a negative feeling and experience of the game, just because I'm not there to kind of catch it and be like, no, those guys are douchebags, don't worry about it, look, I'll show you a little bit about the game and stuff. I just don't have the time, or so it's like, if I could just ask anything from the community, it would be, I really want to kind of crowdsource people just being nice to each other and helping each other out, because every person that has a really negative experience with the game is someone that then thinks, like, doesn't like the project as much as you do. And the best thing for Mirage is more people thinking it has a positive community and experiencing that positive community, because a game this basic is nothing without human interaction with other people. So yeah, that's pretty much what you can all do for me. Okay, so we overran by 1 hour and 10 minutes. I'm so sorry. I had no idea this was going to take this long. Oh, I'm exhausted. My life is so busy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, thank you for all your questions. I hope I managed to answer them. Um, I've not done anything like this before, so it's really like train of thought sort of stuff. I hope you found at least some of it interesting, even though it's gone on for ages. And I hope it's helped you see that I'm just like a guy like you, a very tired guy, but at the moment, but just a guy. I'm just a dude writing a thing. I'm just a person. I'm not like a business or a company. I don't have resource. I'm just a dude going to work, making a living, and also trying to create this awesome thing that you guys all just happen to be here and being part of. And it's really fun. It's really cool. This is like legitimately the best thing I've ever done. And getting to meet you all, and it's all really, really awesome. But my God, is it difficult? So, and I know like I know via text on the forums and in game and via the chat and stuff, it's almost impossible to get a feel for who's at the other end of it. Um, so when it seems like I'm ignoring you or I'm not giving you enough attention in game or I've been mean to you or something, it's likely just because I have like tons of stuff going on and I just physically can't like talk to you all individually and give you all the time that I want to, because ideally I would go for a drink individually with every single one of you and learn about you and we could be awesome friends, but that's just never going to happen because and no one got time for that. So I have to try and dip in and out really quickly into just into your lives and back out again, and then try and get on with mine. And it's really tough. So yeah, you can see I'm a human. I'm normal-ish, and yeah, I'm just trying to make a cool game. So I'm glad you're all along for the ride, and I'm gonna go to bed now. So and stop rambling on. So I will see you all for the 12-hour codathon on the 11th of June. I've got some cool ideas. There's going to be some fun competitions. There's going to be some item rewards. I'm going to be drinking all day. It's going to be amazing. So hopefully we can have a fun time there, and it'll be less of me just rambling on through this stuff and more of cool stuff happening and actually developing the game. So see you then. All the best, guys. Get some sleep if it's as late here there as it is here. Peace. Or it would be peace if I could find the stop streaming button. There it is. Sayonara.